in the locker room, in the something. We got to change something to finish the year strong, right? I think that's the goal now. How do you finish the year strong? How do you have some pride about yourself as a man, as a team, as a unit, as a collective? And how do you gather yourself as a team and finish this year strong? 6 games left, I believe, after the bye, and you do not want to go in there. I know it's my humble opinion. You don't want to have the first pick. I don't know how many years, RG, we have had the first pick or the second pick in the last decade, or it's been way too many times. Let's show some pride, and let's go out there and try to win these last 6 games the best we can, and let's do it for the city, man.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts, I tend to agree with you. Regardless of what pick they have, Trent Baalke better not be making it. But here's the problem with that, Cecil. You know as well as I do. If they go 4-2 in their last 6, and by the way, I don't think there's much to worry about that because they're awful right now, but just in your scenario, if they go 4-2, does that give the owner, Shad Khan, false hope that Peterson and Baalke can turn this thing around? I mean, I think there are a lot of people that are listening to us tonight that just hope at this point it bottoms out to force Shad's hand to get rid of these guys.
No. I think it's time. I think it's time. I think you've seen all you need to see. Last game, I was just being honest. I'm surprised nothing happened this week after letting the team score 50 points on you, and the team looks unmotivated and they got demolished up front. I'm surprised nothing happened last week, right? But there's no reason, even if you go 4-2, even if you go 6-0, to keep this regime together. It's time to break it up. It is, and I think not to be rude or mean to anybody, but it's a business. And in this business, if you can't get guys motivated to play, or you can't figure out ways to get these guys to play well at a high level, then you got to bring somebody else in that can do that, right? And that's just what it is. So I think it's time to bring in new people, regardless of how the last 6 games go.
Cecil, it's interesting. You were drafted when Shad Khan was the owner here in Jacksonville. He became the owner in 2012. You were drafted in 2011, so you were at the very front of Shad Khan's tenure. And there's been a lot of talk about him this week. And look, I'll commend Shad for a couple of things. The brand new Miller Electric Center practice facility, obviously the stadium of the future. Shad Khan did not have to keep this team here, and he did. Shad Khan gives them money to re-sign free agents and extend contracts. Shad Khan is hands-off. He lets his football people do their thing. And that's where I think some of the problem lies. Look, the stadium, the practice facility, the money, the things, the resources he gives his football people, 2 A+, man. 2 thumbs up. Where the problem, I think, begins, and he's 62-144, Cecil, since 2012. They've lost 70% of their regular season games since Shad Khan became the owner. I think he's too hands-off. I think most NFL owners, the NFL team is their baby. Well, Shad Khan's got FlexGate, and he's got Fulham. He's got a bunch of other things that he does. He doesn't live here in Jacksonville full-time. He hires people that he puts in charge, and those people have not done a good job. And he keeps them in those positions longer than he should. He's almost too loyal to a fault. And I think finally now the fans and media alike are saying, all right, Shad, you got to do something, man, because 62-144, 70% losses since 2012, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but my question is, what do you want Shad to do? Because he doesn't know football. Right. He doesn't know the game. He can't go out there and catch and run and pass. He can't go out there and coach. It's the guys that he's hiring. Maybe he needs to hire better. Right. I would agree with that. Maybe you hire better. But he's giving you everything you need to succeed. So if you're a coach, you can't say, hey, Shad, you can't blame Shad Khan. If you're a player, you can't blame Shad Khan. If you're a GM, you're a scout, you can't blame Shad Khan. He gives you everything that you need. It's your job to go out there and execute. It's your job to go out there and make the plays. It's your job to get these guys motivated, or to get them coached up, or to put them in the best situation to succeed. And they are not doing that. No matter who was in the building, no matter who was there, they have not figured out a way to do that consistently, right? So I would say, yes, maybe hire some better people, somebody in different positions. But at the end of the day, it's the coaches and players and GM that got to go out there and execute. They got to draft better. They got to go coach better. They got to go play better. So for me, I can't put much blame on Shad. I don't know what else I want Shad to do, but the players and coaches, at the end of the day, they and the GM, they got to figure out what the heck's going on. They have to truly go out there, get the best players available, whether it's draft or free agency, spend money correctly, spend it wisely, and get the coaches have to get these players in the best situation to execute, and the players got to execute. It's a ladder that falls down. So for me, Khan has done everything you want your owner to do. I'd rather have a Khan than Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones right now is Lord have mercy. Like I don't know what the heck he's thinking or saying or doing. Like he's the owner, the president, the GM. He needs to fire himself. He literally needs to fire himself because he's hurting the organization. Shad is not hurting the organization in Jacksonville. Maybe he can do a little bit better of hiring, right? But he's not hurting the organization. He's putting them in position to succeed. It's about everybody else up under him doing their job better.
Couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts, and I think that's exactly right. Like I said, the resources he gives, I got no problem with that. I mean, heck, again, the overwhelming thing, he kept the team in Jacksonville when he did not need to. Go talk to St. Louis. Stan Kroenke takes over the Rams, and bam, they're in L.A. a couple of years later. So we are forever grateful to Shad in that regard. Having said that, I think it is fair to criticize the record and the hiring of people. And I don't know what you can do other than Cecil at this point. What he's been doing when hiring Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell and Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke, he's not hiring the right people. So what you've been doing for the last decade has not been working. Here's an idea. I look at what Detroit did. We had a bunch of Lions media on last week. They formed like a former player coalition led by Chris Spielman to kind of talk about, all right, what kind of GM do we want here? What kind of coach do we want here? You know, you got a guy like Tony Baselli in this city, Leon Searcy, Jeff Loggeman, Tom McManus. I mean, there's a bunch of former Jaguars that live here. You're on with me on the radio every day. Why don't you get some perspectives from guys that played 7, 8, 9, 10 years in the league about the type of coach, the type of GM that we need to have here in Jacksonville? It's just a thought because it would be something different than what's gone on here for the last decade plus.
That's actually a great idea, RG, especially if you're looking for different results, right? You mentioned 60-something wins, 140-something losses. You have to figure out how to go about things in a different way to create different results. So to understand, especially if you don't, and I'm not saying Shad knows nothing about American football, but he's not an X's and O's guy, right? He's not a guy. He runs great businesses, but not a guy that understands the game in that landscape. So why not talk to guys in that landscape that's been there, that's done that, that's had success? Why not bring back a Freddie T? Why not bring back a Mark Brunell? Bring back the guys that were in the Jacksonville glory era, right? In the great era they were in. And then ask them questions. What should we look for? Who should we go after, right? And don't be afraid of the big names. Why not bring Bill Belichick in to help out with certain personnel or certain ideas or run the team? Why not bring certain big names in to, hey, let's see what they can do? Like this to get advice, right? Just to get opinions, right? And then I think this next coaching hire and GM hire is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And if I'm Jacksonville, I'm doing whatever I can to get Ben Johnson there. I think Ben Johnson is the guy that can help Trevor Lawrence become the best Trevor Lawrence he can be. I think he's the guy that you have the pieces on offense. My gosh, he can be the guy that motivates that offense and puts them in the right places at the right times and gets them in the right situations to be able to make plays and be explosive. And then go out there and hire a defensive coordinator that can really rally up this defense and make plays. The tackling on Sunday was ridiculous. Like, I understand Gibbs is good. I understand Montgomery is good. I understand St. Brown and Jameson Williams is good. But the tackling was ridiculous. I'm like, what in the pressure? I mean, you're letting Jared Goff spin out and get loose in the pocket and run. It's just, you have to me, I think it's a great idea, RG. Gather former players up, especially guys that were in the glory days of Jacksonville, that had some wins, that went deep in the playoffs, that had really a lot of success. Listen to those guys. Let them have a say as far as, give me some names, give me some ideas. How should things look? You still make the decision, but at least get some opinions from those guys, right? And then go out there and hire the best you can. Like, you're not afraid to spend money. He's never been afraid to spend money, Shad Khan. But he has to go out there and get a Ben Johnson type. He has to go out there and get somebody legit to get this team and this city back where it should be.
Final moments, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. You actually got a shout-out on the Jaguar broadcast. This was the second most yardage the defense has ever given up. The first was that 2012 game in Houston, that overtime game where Andre Johnson went absolutely berserk, and Blackman went berserk in that game. You also had 3 for 81 and a touchdown in that game. So I want to give Cecil Shorts a little love because they did mention you on the Jaguar broadcast because it was the second most yards the defense ever gave up. I can't imagine you getting 3 for 81, Justin Blackman going for 230, and y'all actually lost that game. That's absolutely fascinating. As we wrap up, Cecil, they're going to come back next week. It's the Cecil Shorts Bowl Part 2 next week when we got Houston coming in. That'll be a nice little Thanksgiving hangover for the Jaguars, I'm sure, on Sunday, and we'll talk about that next week. But how do you recover if you're Jacksonville from that? I mean, the talking point this week was, well, they're tired. They need a break. And to me, look, you played in the league 7 years. You obviously have a much better perspective than I do. But give me a freaking break. If they were 8-3 or 9-2, would they be tired? Heck no. They don't want to keep going, right? This whole nonsense about we're tired, we need a break, they're beat up. Well, yeah, because you're getting beat every week on the scoreboard, so that's why you're tired, right? To me, that's nonsense.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. At this point in the league, at this point in the season, everybody's tired. At this point in the season, everybody is, right? He's not telling the truth. It just sounds bad. Terrible timing by him because you just got your butt beat by 50 or whatever, how many points it was, 50-6 or whatever it was, right? It's just, at this point, like, I don't know what to say.
Well, right. I mean, I get it. He has to say something.
It's
the NFL
pride.
Requires him to meet with the media. So Doug has to say something. But what's he going to say?
But you don't say that, though. Like, that's my point. He's right about everybody being tired, but everybody in the league is tired. Detroit's tired, whether they're 9-1 or 10-1, whatever they are, right? Everybody's beat up a little bit. It's just your heart and soul is beat up. There's a difference, right? Your heart and soul is beat up. You got your soul taken from you, literally. It was like Mortal Kombat, finish him, right? That's how it looked out there. So yes, they are beat up and tired, but you don't say that after a game like that. That's my issue. You can't say that right after a game like that. You can't. You got to say something else. I don't care if you're, we got to regroup, refocus, try to figure out a way to make these last 6 games strong. I remember playing in I can't remember, it was 13 or 14. And we were towards the end of the year, and Gus Bradley was trying to find a way to get us fired up, right? It might have been 2013. He was like, hey, these last 4 games of the year is playoffs. We got to win 2 when we're in, right? If we got to win we got to win 2 out of the 4 we're in the playoffs. He put us in scenarios, right? So now Doug has to figure out ways to help his team finish strong. Like this, you got to have some pride. You got to have some want to, right? Some really manning up in that locker room and say, hey, we're going to be technically sound. We're going to play good football, and we're going to give it our all each and every game, right? That's all you can do right now. You're playing for yourself. You're playing for the name on your back, on the jersey, name on the front of the jersey. You're playing for the city. So you got to figure out, and Doug has to figure this out the last 5-6 weeks, like, how do I motivate these guys to get them to finish strong? Because what we saw Sunday is just not it. It's just not it. I mean, you can see the complete difference in a team that is motivated, on fire, that's ready to go. And again, they're tired too. Like, it's a long season to be hit every single play. But them firing off the ball, them being Detroit, and how Jacksonville was firing off the ball are 2 totally different teams. So you have to figure out a way to get these guys motivated and playing well the last couple games.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, enjoy the Jaguar bye week. I guess the good thing is we're not going to get them to watch them see their head get beat in, so we can enjoy actually some good football. And we'll be back next week to preview Cecil Shorts Bowl. Again, former Jaguar and a former Texan, as C.J. Stroud and the Texans make the trip here to Everbank Stadium. Cecil, appreciate you, man. Thanks as always.
Yeah, appreciate you, RG. Have a good one.
You could win a weekly tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher. Wow. Valued at $100. And monthly winners get a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler, chair, and collectible football. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? But what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tag that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Get down to the bank Sunday, December 1st, when the Jaguars go head-to-head with division rivals, the Houston Texans. You won't want to miss our My Cause, My Cleats game, when your favorite players get to champion causes close to their heart by wearing custom-designed cleats. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kickoff by calling 904-633-2000 or visit us online at jaguars.com/tickets. We'll see you there.
Hey gang, Prosser here, telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
Chris Doring is chomping at the bit to tell you about today's Gators.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
With Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL.
At Farah & Farah, no matter if you're working on a case worth $5,000 or a case worth $5 million, you give that case the attention it deserves. Because to the client, that's their big case. Farah & Farah, here for you, here for good, Jacksonville.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com or purchase your Hills Pass today.
Ready to sharpen your aim or find the perfect firearm? Come to St. Nicholas Guns and Rage. With a huge selection of guns, ammo, and accessories, plus Jacksonville's best indoor range for every skill level. They've got everything you need to hit your target. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, their friendly experts will guide you every step of the way at 4630 Blanding Boulevard or online at stnickguns.com. St. Nicholas Gun and Range. Gear up, shoot a lot, shoot better.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
We'll get into a little Florida Ole Miss talk in just a moment. Do want to let you know, Week 12 tonight kicks it off. Thursday Night Football, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. End of the first quarter, they are scoreless. Chris Boswell of Pittsburgh, after 6 field goals last week in beating Baltimore, did miss, I believe, a 58-yarder. It was a long one. He missed it. So scoreless. Russell Wilson, by the way, 7 of 7 in quarter number 1 for 77 yards, but no points on the scoreboard yet. Scoreless between the Browns and the Steelers. Real quick, before we get into college football, try not to let things bother me. Denmark, you kind of give me a good talking to there during the break. But
you talk to your son.
Yeah, exactly. I get riled every once in a while. I got people, every night I put out a little excerpt of the opening segment, and, people are watching that and maybe didn't hear the entirety of it. I made the point that Shad Khan has done a lot of really good things. The one bad thing he's done is he's made bad hires. And I got people coming at me on social media saying, name me one good thing Shad has done. Are you kidding me, man? I mean, you got to be joking, right? If you call yourself a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, look, it's fair to criticize Shad Khan. It's fair to be ticked off at a 62-144 regular season record since the beginning of 2012, losing almost 70% of your games. It's fair to complain and bellyache and voice your displeasure with all that. And that's what makes sports great. And it's fair to say, Shad, you need to change your hiring practices in a very, very big way, because this has sucked for the last 12 years. I have no issue with you doing any of that. But to go on social media and come at me and say, name one good thing Shad Khan has done, well, here's one for you, and this ends the conversation. The conversation is over after you point out that when Shad Khan signed on the dotted line from Wayne and Dolores Weaver, he did not have to keep the team in Jacksonville, Florida. He did not. They were his. He could have gone anywhere. Anywhere. And not only is he keeping the team here, but that stadium of the future has been getting built. And they have long-term security here for the next 3+ decades. So complain and, get mad, get pissed off about an awful record and awful coaching and GM hires. I'm with you. Right on, man. Absolutely. But do not have the audacity to say, name one good thing Shad Khan has done as owner. Are you kidding? Sadly, I don't think you are. The Jacksonville Jaguars will remain the Jacksonville Jaguars because of Shad Khan. Think about it like this. Get pissed off and get upset and get angry at what Shad does with your NFL team in your hometown, as opposed to not caring if he would have moved the team. How about that? Name one good thing he's done. Give me a break. Ridiculous. Anyway, now into the world of college football. How about that for a segue? Florida Ole Miss, Saturday, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville. Another sellout for the University of Florida. Kudos to you, Gator fans. I remember there was a time at 5-5, the swamp would have not been filled, not even close. particularly for a noon kick. But obviously, the Gator fan base has gotten more realistic than they have been in the previous years. It's a funny term in Gator fan circles, realistic. I think you are a little more realistic than maybe you used to be, which is good. You need to be. Obviously, the product is not what we would like it to be, media fans alike. But I get the sense some of you, not all, but some of you, are beginning to turn a corner with Billy Napier. And maybe that's because your hand's been forced. Maybe that's because you realize that he's coming back in 2025. So you either need to like it or accept it or whatever you need to do with it because it's going to happen. Maybe that's why. But I do get the vibe that particularly after that LSU win, I see a lot more positivity surrounding Billy Napier. Also had a good week on the recruiting trail, right? When you win, you can recruit. And he's flipped a couple of Florida State commitments. He's got a couple of big-time commitments coming in town this weekend for Senior Day. If he can get one or two of those to flip, all right, we're talking about something then. Ole Miss is a bad matchup for Florida. Ole Miss has to win the game. It's a playoff game for them. Their playoffs have already started. But the one thing just keep in the back of your mind, I mentioned this last night. Don't know if it means anything. Don't know if it means a hill of beans. But I find it interesting, so I'll share it with you. Ole Miss 2 losses this year, right? Came to LSU and to Kentucky. The 2 losses LSU has to LSU and Kentucky. And those same 2 teams, LSU and Kentucky, Florida absolutely beat the crap out of. Does that mean anything? We'll find out Saturday. Just some food for thought to think about heading into this game. Senior Day in Gainesville. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL Saturday with a noon kick between Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss and Billy Napier and the University of Florida. Speaking of Florida and Ole Miss, looking around the world of college football as well, my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Let's talk college ball. Let's talk Billy Napier. Let's talk Miami, Georgia as well with Brent Beard, and let's do it next on a Thursday night in Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
One of the keys to victories is to know your opponent well.
Best thing I can do is point you in the direction of his competition.
Get insights and interviews from Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline when he takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
For Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJags.com. The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety. There is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival returns to the Daytona International Speedway in 2025 with Green Day, Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville takes over the Daytona International Speedway May 15th to the 18th, 2025. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. 4-day, single-day camping and VIP passes on sale now at welcometoRockville.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, what a win for the Florida Gators on Saturday against LSU. Is that it? Does Billy Napier get 2025 now with that victory over the LSU Bengal Tigers? They got Ole Miss this week, another really interesting game at the Swamp. Georgia with a big win over Tennessee, and certainly looking forward, a lot of interesting games this weekend as the playoffs are approaching. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Well, it's a wonderful week of weather, cooler, or maybe I should say warming up a little bit, but then we got a front coming through, and then it's 60s and 40s, and I mean, that is Thanksgiving football weather, to say the least. But, yeah, it was another big weekend of games. Now, I'm curious if you're going through this. In the past, when we're down to 2 games left in the season, you know, we're moaning and groaning. It's going so fast type stuff. But with these playoffs coming, I think there's such an excitement for that right now and trying to figure this out and who's going where, and knowing that we're going to January the 20th, that takes some of the sting out of this season going by so quickly.
No, I agree. I mean, the time you and I are talking, we still have 2 months of college football,
absolutely.
which is wild to think about. I mean, some teams could play 4 playoff games to win a national championship. It's going to be nuts. That's not in the cards for Florida, and Florida made sure that wasn't in the cards for LSU after Saturday. Brent, can you verbalize what that means for Billy Napier in beating LSU on Saturday? I mean, that's his best win as the Gator coach, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Now, look, I think we all understand that LSU's going backwards, but you're still beating a ranked team. You're still beating a brand name team. There were some stats in that game. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. LSU ran 92 plays and Florida ran 43. And Florida was able to win by double digits. The time of possession, 41 minutes to 18 minutes. I mean, there are just some things in this game. You're talking about being efficient in what they were able to do. I mean, Lagway playing well, obviously was huge, basically on one leg. And his numbers, frankly, for being on one leg, his numbers were pretty good. Badger really stepped up, didn't he, Hank? 6 catches, 131. This Jaden Ball kid, you can't help but really appreciate what he's done in that much maligned defense, coming out with 7 sacks. LSU had allowed 6 in their first 9 games, and the defensive backs really came through too. Without the risk of just going on and on and on and on here, it was a incredibly significant win.
I want to focus on Florida, obviously, but quickly, and let's not spend a lot of time on this, but the natives are getting restless on the Bayou. I mean, Brian Kelly's probably okay for the end of this year, but he might want to think about winning some games next year, correct?
Yeah. The interesting thing here, to his credit, it's the first time since 2016 that Kelly won't win at least 10 games in a season. Now, all those obviously weren't with LSU, but that still gives you a little bit of equity. Now, he's got about a $50 million buyout if they tried to do it. He's not going to get fired at the end of the season, and I think he'll be okay next season, but they really are. They are going backwards. I still think Nussmeier is a decent quarterback, but he is struggling. Their defense that we knew would be struggling, but at the same time, the group that really is struggling is their offensive line that we really thought would be maybe the best anywhere. So, but to your point, part of the problem, it doesn't look. You've been on sidelines as a player and as media. When your coach is one thing the coach yell at players. Well, when the players are yelling at the coach and that gets on camera, that tells you something about the culture of the program right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt, and that happened a couple of times on the LSU sideline on Saturday night. You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. All right, back to the Gators. DJ Lagway. Brent, he didn't have the greatest numbers, but my gracious, man, some of the balls that guy throws, some of those deep passes are just beautiful. And like you said, he basically did it on one leg. He really couldn't run. Napier admitted after the game he was like 80 to 85%. Future's bright, and a win like that environment, a sold-out 90,000-plus environment at the Swamp, it was a huge recruiting weekend, which has already benefited Florida, as Tramel Jones, the Mandarin quarterback who just decommitted from Florida State, committed to Florida in the last 48 hours or so. That's a huge win for a lot of different aspects for Billy Napier. There's no question about that.
Well, and that's going to continue to go through. And people may not have heard this, but Jamie French, obviously from Jacksonville, the 5-star, was on campus this weekend, and they asked him if Florida still had a chance and why, and he said DJ Lagway. So, look, a guy, I'm not saying he's coming and going to flip, but the reality is just for him to be interested is incredibly important. Lagway now is 3-1 in games he started and frankly 3-0 for the games he's played the full 60 minutes in. Do you? I know you do, but I hope our listeners understand. Look, this is not a great team. We all get this. But the bottom line is this team has improved. They're better than they were in September. And Gator fans I saw everywhere over the last 6 months, that's what they said. We just want to see them get better by November. And they have done that. And Hank, listen, it really is kind of startling when you think about this. Ifs and nuts for candy and buts, but if they would have beaten Tennessee and they were ahead 3-0 in the first half, and they had beaten Georgia, tied 20-20 in the fourth quarter, I mean, Ryan, we may actually be talking about Florida having an outside chance at the SEC championship game, if not the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a situation of what could have been if the injuries didn't pile up, if Lagway didn't get hurt against Georgia, and we understand that. But the reality is, 5-5, they are clearly better than they were in September. Brent, I want to get to Ole Miss in a moment. It's a big one at the Swamp on Saturday, but does it matter? Has Billy done enough, in your opinion, to earn 2025 regardless of these last two games?
Yeah, I think so. And even if they lose to Ole Miss, they'll beat Florida State. I think not that Florida State won't have maybe they're one of the few real performances of the year that they were motivated. But if what you'll be able to say. If you're a Gator fan, is, well, we won 2 out of the last 3, beating LSU and Florida State. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think Florida's going to win that game. I've just seen too many times Florida go to Doak Campbell Stadium and weird things happen. Weird things happen in Tallahassee, Florida. And I know it's the worst Florida State team that I've ever seen in my lifetime, but I'm not ready to say definitively Florida's going to win that game, although I believe they will. We'll get to that game next week, certainly. To Ole Miss. Again, Brent Beard here with us of First Coast News. You get him weekly on Hacker After Dark. Interesting dynamic. The guy Gator fans want comes in to play the guy that Gator fans are probably going to keep. Boy, and a noon kick. I bet if ESPN and ABC had this to do over again, they might put it at 3:30. I think that almost helps Ole Miss that it's a noon kick at the Swamp. But regardless, what an interesting dynamic on Saturday afternoon in Gainesville.
Well, it is. And I mean, Ole Miss is having postseason dreams of their own. Now, Jackson Dart, when he's healthy, and I believe he will be by then, they were off this past weekend, is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Trey Harris, the wide receiver, if he plays, that will make a major difference. Where Ole Miss is significantly better is what Pete Golding from Alabama, the D coordinator, has done on that defensive side of the ball. I mean, they just hammered Georgia on the line of scrimmage, and that's what they won. So I think that's going to be the bigger thing is LSU didn't have the defense to beat Florida, but Ole Miss does. So that's what they've got to be careful about. But again, I mean, if you can get into to the point where Florida can reverse this time of possession and the number of plays they have, that they could be in this game for a long, long way.
And I think we're at the point now where if Lagway plays, and he's going to, and if he stays in the entire game, it won't be a blowout. I think Florida will have a chance in the fourth quarter. DJ Lagway's kind of proven that. I mean, they were beating Georgia when Lagway was in there. So anything can happen. And look, if this game's in Oxford, Brent, I would take Ole Miss without a shadow of a doubt. Mm-hmm. There is something to the game being in Gainesville on Saturday.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, that crowd really gave you an inkling of that in that ball run at the for that touchdown late. Reminded a lot of people of the P. Ryan run a few years ago. Now, here's the thing that really impressed me. In the secondary, Johnson, Castile, Bridges, and Thornton all played 93 snaps against LSU, and they only missed, the whole defense, I mean, they only missed as a defense 9 tackles in 93 snaps. Heck, would you have ever believed they could have done that a month ago?
No, clearly better. There's no doubt about that. And final Florida thought, the Tramel Jones thing and the Jacksonville thing. Florida has struggled. They've gotten a little better with Napier, but they've struggled in Jacksonville getting blue-chip prospects out of Duval County in our area to go to Gainesville for whatever reason. And since Napier arrived, Jack Pyburn looks like a great player that they got out of the bowl school.
Yes.
But getting Tramel Jones, that's big. That's big to get back into Jacksonville and start getting some of these blue chips. There's no reason that Florida should not get a majority of the blue chip guys that are 90 minutes away. And I think getting Tramel Jones is a nice start to that.
No question. And look, that is a real selling point for recruiting, is to tell these kids, look, your family and friends, they can drive 90 minutes to see you. If you're playing in Texas, they've got to take a flight to be able to do that. So I think that's something we really need to start looking at. And I'm with you. It's simply inexcusable why Florida's not involved with more of these guys. But I'll say this, people love a winner, don't they, Hack? And when Florida shows the promise that they have this year, people are looking their way. And as we said a few minutes ago about French, Lagway is really getting some of these skill position players and running backs a lot more interested in that offense. But you and I both know what's got to be solidified is the line of scrimmage on both sides. It's exciting to get the recruits in for the skill position players, but you win championships on your line of scrimmage.
Final moments with Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, Georgia beat Tennessee. That's a second loss for the Volunteers. And now you look at the SEC competitors, right, for the playoff. A&M, Tennessee, probably hanging on by a thread. Ole Miss looks like if they win out, they're in pretty good shape. And then it looks like Texas, Alabama, and Georgia are obviously in pretty good shape. The interesting thing there is the SEC championship game may literally hurt somebody. All right?
Yeah.
Now, depending on Texas, they're going to be in the SEC championship game. But in a hypothetical world, let's say Texas loses, and for some reason it's Georgia and Alabama. Well, look, right now they're in good standing. But if they have to play each other in the SEC title game, that puts a third loss on one of them. That might end their playoff hopes. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here down the stretch.
Yeah, and I'd love to see the committee be able to clarify that situation too. I mean, I know there are some stipulations that might happen. I mean, if you get blown out in the championship game, that may be one, but there are a lot of people also thinking, and I really kind of tend to agree with this. My Stars, if you make your championship game, that's your main goal. That's the only thing you can really control. Both those teams ought to be in the playoff, but you can see even now, Hank, with these scenarios that are just almost out of control right now, why Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, the commissioners of the SEC and the Big Ten, they want to expand this thing as quickly as possible from 12 to 14 or 16, and I think in 2026 that will happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the 12-team scenario. And again, I guess it wouldn't even matter if it was both Alabama or Georgia. Say Texas wins out, and then whoever has the tiebreaker, I guess Alabama has it, right? Because they beat Georgia head-to-head.
Yeah.
If it's Texas and Alabama in the SEC title game, again, Alabama would probably be good if they just won their last two regular season games. But because they might have to play in that SEC title game, that would put a third loss on them, and that might put them in danger if they lose that game.
It's incredible that we're even having this conversation compared to years past. But we've got to have this conversation because you actually are having some schools and fan bases who won't necessarily admit it, but would almost rather miss the championship game if they know they're going to the playoffs just to keep from the risk of the loss. and having more time for your injured players to heal for the next game.
Brent, final thought. We got 90 seconds to go. The slate this weekend does not look great nationally, but I will remind people the last time this happened about a month ago, very odd things tend to happen on Saturdays like this, i.e. Vanderbilt beating Alabama. So with as crazy as college football is, admittedly the slate's not great, but it would not surprise me, Brent, if we saw an upset or two that would really shake things up.
Well, I mean, you've got Auburn and Texas A&M. You've got Alabama going to Norman. And, I mean, you look at games like that. Kentucky's playing Texas. I don't think there's any way that's going to happen. But you throw it out there because Kentucky can rise up. LSU is hosting Vandy. And I never thought we'd say this, but Vandy probably is it could end up being the favorite in that game. But so to your point, there's no doubt about it. It's and give South Carolina credit. They've got Wofford, which they'll beat, but Wofford's given them problems before. So that's a good point. But again, we're going to 9 SEC games in about either 26 or 27. So a lot of these games that you're looking at for this weekend, those opponents will be replaced with another conference foe pretty soon.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, enjoy all the football this weekend. We'll talk next week right before Thanksgiving, my friend.
Well, look forward to it, bud. Take care.
Sideline to sideline.
That's a bad boy.
Goal line to goal line.
On best, here we go.
The best defense is a superior fence. Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. I had my weekly weigh-in and my meeting with my coach, Kate, earlier today. And that's the great thing about Awaken 180. You're never alone on this journey. Some weight loss programs will just give you the stuff and say, all right, have a good time. Not Awaken 180. You're in constant communication, emails, Zooms, phone calls. You have meetings with them. What's working? What's not working? I want to try this. Should I try that? And it's absolutely fantastic, man. That's why I've lost over 100 pounds, 110 pounds to be exact on this program. From 317 in February to 207 here in November. And it's all thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. They're changing lives, man. They're saving lives. You could be next. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
If you have a slow-draining sink or toilet that sounds like it's about to back up, imagine the potential plumbing emergency when you have family over for the holidays. Flush after flush after flush. Avoid holiday clogs with a call to Duck Rooter today. Duck Rooter will come and resolve those plumbing issues so you can enjoy a free-flowing holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckrooter.com.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 21st, 1977, Baltimore Orioles first baseman, future Baseball Hall of Famer Eddie Murray wins the American League Rookie of the Year award.
The right talent.
The right attitude.
The right game plan. The right amount of fight, pride, and determination.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you.
Farah and Farah, here for Jacksonville, here for good.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Break in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a free wind mitigation inspection. With financing options as low as $115 a month, protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. Offer expires November 30th. Protect your home and your wallet.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This season, check out our revamped website at southernsteerbutcher.com. Click on the Promotions tab, and our Jacksonville weekly grilling specials will hit you in the face like a hot route over the middle.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
40 seconds to go in the first half. Cleveland, kind of a surprise. The 2-8 Browns lead the 8-2 Steelers 10-3. Nick Chubb, a 2-yard rushing touchdown, a couple of field goals by both teams. And the Browns, a 10-3 lead as we approach halftime. Again, would be a pretty big upset. Pittsburgh comes in 8-2 on the year. Cleveland comes in with just a record of 2-8. We'll crunch the numbers. We'll do a little analytics. Daniel Griffiths does a great job covering the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's now got his own website, Wildcard Analytics. It's number crunching, man. It's decimal points. What does the numbers mean? What do the numbers mean? These positions, those positions. I kind of like it. And it's all Jaguar and NFL related. So we'll talk to Daniel Griffiths about the Jaguars and kind of where we go over these next 6 games coming up here on a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you're with us on a Thursday. Remember, we'll be under the Friday night lights tomorrow for round 2 of the FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs, and we are certainly looking forward to that. With you till 10 o'clock tonight on a Thursday, Daniel Griffiths, Wildcard Analytics, joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Tom McManus, and I give you a window into what it's like on the field wearing black and teal. Catch my stories and analysis thanks to renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on 1010 XL.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help, and I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination.
Start your engines, let's go!
So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
A hardworking student athlete deserves recognition.
Catch the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Franchi Show.
On 1010XL.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit Jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
What is the only team in the NFL to neither host nor play in the Super Bowl? The answer coming up.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only team in the NFL that hasn't hosted or played in the Super Bowl? The Cleveland Browns.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hacker here. A couple weeks back, I received an invite. Not just any invite. It was to be the guest speaker at Awaken 180's virtual town hall. Every team member was there. The owner, Paige, my coach, Kate, and what seemed like 100 people from Awaken 180. My surprise? They invited me to stay for the full town hall. They talked client successes, company goals, future plans, you name it. There was nothing to hide. They all had one common goal of how they can help people better. It was amazing to hear, and it was amazing to see how happy and team-oriented everyone was. I mean, I already knew my coach had that mindset, but I thought I had the best one. Nope, they're all the best ones. That's the beauty of being company-led, not a franchise who often only looks at the bottom line. I suppose that's why Awaken 180 is now celebrating 10 years and has helped over 23,000 clients like me, Mike Dempsey, and Matt Hayes. See it firsthand while you're losing weight with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars head into a bye week at 2-9 off a 52-6 just thumping at the hands of the Detroit Lions. Jacksonville would have the number one pick in the NFL draft. If it were held today, it has been a nightmare of a season, and that is putting it mildly. How did we get here? What does the future hold? And more importantly, how do the Jaguars get out of this black hole? Let's talk about all of it with Daniel Griffiths. He's been with us many times in the past. He's got a brand new website, wildcardanalytics.com, that will tell you all about. Daniel, appreciate the time, man. How are you?
Oh, very well. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about the new website. You just launched it a couple of days ago, right? Wildcard Analytics. It's the decimal points, the number crunching, the analytics side of football that most people really appreciate now. And you've launched that with a Jaguar NFL-related website.
Yeah, my entire goal when I was at Florida, my professor, Dr. Lewis, pointed me in the direction of sports data, kind of create a niche for myself. And, you know, how its importance is paramount to better understanding football. You know, some statistics can be misleading, no doubt. But it kind of gives fans and audience the ability to, okay, is the O-line actually struggling? How are they doing relative to other teams? It gives them a basis to base their beliefs on, whether they're proven right or disproven. And some others, you know, sometimes the NFL itself is wrong. I posted a article about NFL edge rushers and arm length and how much that matters. Trent Baalke believes that it matters a lot. Statistics say otherwise. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do there. It'll mainly be Jaguars and NFL focused. I may dabble into some NFL draft stuff as that nears. But yeah, I'm really excited just to put some more content out there for fans to read. I can do the data stuff on social media, but the articles give a little more context to what that data means specifically.
Yeah, admittedly, I was never really a big analytics guy until about a couple of years ago, and I found that I appreciate that side of it a lot more than I used to. All right, let's dive in. Daniel, you and I spoke this offseason, and at that point, Jaguar fans had hopes, dreams, aspirations of a division championship, potential playoff run, and all of that has been shattered and crushed in what is arguably the most disappointing season in the history of the Jaguar franchise, and I don't really believe I'm overstating that. In your opinion, what on earth has gone wrong?
Yeah, you look at it going into the year, the Jaguars, they just signed Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines Allen to huge deals, two key cogs of the future. And you've got two other teams that have Will Levis and Anthony Richardson starting at quarterback. And maybe you can take advantage of a weaker division with some young quarterbacks. We kind of thought that the Houston Texans would be strong. They don't look probably as strong as we maybe had thought they would be. But no doubt you went into the season with Trevor Lawrence at your quarterback, and it's like, all right, we should at the very least, be able to be competitive in this division. That's worst case scenario, and somehow we're far below that. And a lot of the pieces that the Jaguars went out and got in free agency haven't stepped up in maybe the way that you thought that they would. Notably, Eric Armstead and Gabe Davis. Unfortunately, his season looks like it's done, but you still have them for the foreseeable future. They signed multi-year deals, and a lot of the pieces that are here now are going to be back in the coming years, and you have to figure out what exactly you need to do to put some wins up with these players.
Daniel Griffiths, Wildcard Analytics, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, all the heat on the planet, it seems like, is revolving here in Jacksonville around Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Jaguar fans are furious, they're irate, and some of that is spilling over into owner Shad Khan for not doing anything about that 52-6 fiasco in Detroit. Let's begin with Baalke. How much blame should the general manager receive for where the Jaguars are at right now?
Well, he's kind of the leader in the building. It's his roster. It's in many ways his team, and I think I want to give him credit for some things. Mitch Morse has been a really good addition to the Jaguars O-line. I think we all remember how it went with Luke Forwarder last year. Didn't go very well. Jaguars have run the ball a lot better and pass blocked a lot better this year with him at center. Trayvon Walker's really turned a corner the last 18 months, last season and a half. He's doing really well, but then you look at the rest of this free agency class, Gabe Davis and Eric Armstead. It sounds like that was the plan all along with Eric Armstead to play at defensive end. That certainly has not worked out. And there's some issues on the back end of that secondary is looking really, really weak as well. So I certainly think that right now the whole is less than the sum of the parts. But there's still certainly a lot of blame to go to Trent Baalke for this roster.
When we go to Doug Peterson, Daniel, my issue there is the team has regressed since he's been here. They were better in 2022, his first year. They were clearly better that year than they are right now. They have gone backwards. And more importantly, it looks like Trevor Lawrence has gone backwards. I mean, Doug Peterson's sole responsibility in life when he was given this job here in Jacksonville, he, along with Press Taylor, was develop Trevor Lawrence. And clearly, Trevor, towards the end of 2022, was playing some of his best football, beginning of 2023, and that just has not materialized really since the injury towards the middle to end of last year. He hasn't been terrible in 24, but he certainly hasn't been what he was when the Jaguars were doing well at the end of 22 and the beginning of 23. And to me, that's an indictment of Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, he's and even when he is, at his best, it's been hard for Trevor to kind of string those games together in a row. He has moments where, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and then he'll have a down game, like the Denver game last season in London, if I remember correctly, was just like abysmal. And then at the start of this season, and then he kind of put some few games together, and then unfortunately had the injury. So the consistency there, I think, is what really holds him back from becoming one of the NFL's, top 10 quarterbacks in the league. And I think that the offensive structure certainly doesn't help. I posted a while back the Jaguars route diversity, as well as every other NFL team in the league. And the Jaguars, I believe, if I can recall correctly, ran the second most hitches in the NFL. So you're not giving your receivers a lot of ability to create after the catch. And they have some yak. Gabe Davis had a lot of yak on one particular play against the Colts. So that single play boosts their yak a decent bit. But I mean, they're at the bottom of the league in motion percentages. They haven't found ways to get BTJ the ball. And it seems like, they're not giving Trevor Lawrence, especially early in games. They've struggled really early on in games just to give him some easy passes to kind of get going.
A couple more for Daniel Griffiths, wildcardanalytics.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Daniel, does the Ryan Nielsen hire, based on your numbers, seem as bad as it is in my thoughts? Because I think that's been an atrocious hire. The defense is awful this year.
I'm so confused by what the thought process was to begin with. Nielsen and Armstead have talked about their goal when signing him to play him at defensive end. My question is, you already have two really good defensive ends. You can't have three that play every day, every play, every down. And, I have the numbers here for Eric Armstead. He's played 221 snaps at edge, 116 at defensive tackle, so almost half of what he's played at edge, he's played at defensive tackle. And his pressure rate at defensive tackle is really solid. It's 11%. And then you look at edge, and it's just 4%. I dream of a utopia where Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, and Eric Armstead could be on the field the same play. But that just certainly hasn't been the reality for Jacksonville. And they've been taking Hines Allen and Walker off the field to put Armstead on the field. Josh Hines Allen is playing over 7% less snaps this year than he did last year. And it's a big reason why the Jaguars are 29th in pressure.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And the hockey line changes that they do on the D-line and at linebacker have made no sense the entire year. And look, Detroit gained over a third of a mile in total offense on Sunday. I mean, it was a failure across the board, and that is not – the Ryan Nielsen thing just is not working, and it's really surprising, too. I was dead wrong about that. I was really impressed by him when he first got here. Nothing against him personally. He just hasn't done a very good job as a defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Daniel, as we begin to wrap up, man, there are 6 games left, right? I mean, that's what's amazing here is we're already talking about the offseason and – new head coach, maybe new GM they're going to bring in, and hopefully that comes to fruition. But there are still 6 games left. And to me, it's all about Brian Thomas Jr. and Ventrell Miller and Bigsby and Strange and Jarian Jones. I want to see the young guys. I want to see what we got moving forward into 2025. Do you share that sentiment?
I do, yeah. I mean, of the things to look forward to, that's about all that Jaguar fans have left for the rest of the remainder of the season. I don't see them weaseling their way back into the playoff picture, especially not. We'll see what happens if the Trevor Lawrence injury. Walker Little's another one. I'd like to see how he finishes. The last 2 weeks, he has not allowed a single pressure, so that's something to look at for the remainder of the year. Brian Thomas, obviously, Brenton Strange has really he's played pretty well as Bigsby. Hopefully Bigsby can get back. I'd like to see some of the younger guys at defensive tackle. If you're not going to play Eric Armstead at defensive tackle, I'd really like to see Mason Smith if he can get healthy and get back on the field, see what he can do for the rest of the year. Same goes with Jordan Jefferson. The Jaguars linebackers, Ventrell Miller's kind of worked his way into being a guy that's seen quite a bit of snaps, and they're rotating those guys at linebacker. Jarian Jones, I've loved since he was at FSU, and I think that with him and Tyson, the Jaguars have 2 pretty solid corners for the foreseeable future.
Final question. They got the number 1 pick in the draft if the draft were held today. Right now, obviously, a lot can change. I mean, they play Tennessee twice, and arguably those 2 games against the Titans may literally decide who has the number 1 pick, and those will be storylines going into those games here in a couple of weeks. But if that holds to fruition, and if the Jaguars do end up with the number 1 pick, Is there a position that you'd like to see? I mean, I'll talk about Travis Hunter. You know, I'm not necessarily sure about that, but what would be your thought if Jacksonville were to pick number one?
It honestly depends on what the Jaguars do with Walker Little. If Walker Little, he's a free agent at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. You know, if the Jaguars elect not to re-sign him, I think that you have to look at tackle. Kelvin Banks from Texas comes to mind. He's had a really good season. That's probably where I'd look. Whether they make the pick at 1 or trade back, or they end up not having the first overall pick, I'd look at tackle, especially if Walker Little is no longer a Jaguar in 2025.
Yeah, the Walker Little thing will be interesting the last 6 games. I agree with you, because he is set to become an unrestricted free agent in March. Daniel, one more time, tell them about your new website, Wildcard Analytics, and what they can expect when they head on over there.
Yeah, I'm working on a story right now about the death of the NFL passing era. This season, especially the NFL, we've seen a dip in passing over the last decade or so, consistently every year. So teams are running the ball more now than they ever have in the last decade, and they're being more successful at it. Thank you, Brandon Staley, and that too high safety look. But the Jaguars are certainly a team that is going to have to look at that as well as everybody, that the average depth of target now is lower than ever. And that's something to watch out for. I'm looking forward to that one.
Daniel Griffiths of Wildcard Analytics. Daniel, appreciate the time. Know you're busy. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk again soon, man.
You as well. Happy holidays.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to Daniel Griffiths, Wildcard Analytics, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. I was never really big into the analytics up until about a couple of years ago. But, man, I really appreciate what they do, what they signify, and Daniel does a terrific job with those. If you follow him on social media, you already know that. And his brand new website, Wildcard Analytics, breaks down the number crunching, breaks down the positions, breaks down the individual players and what they do well, what they don't do well. I think you'll find it very useful if you're a Jaguar fan or really a fan of any team in the National Football League. So we appreciate Daniel taking time out for us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We obviously talked a lot about the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they are on a bye week coming up this weekend. We talked about the news, or I guess lack of news, that transpired out of that building this week. Status quo. I think most of us would have been shocked had you told us on Sunday evening that come Thursday nothing would have happened, but that appears to be the case. Doug Peterson is still the coach. Trent Baalke is still the GM. Press Taylor is still the offensive coordinator, and Ryan Nielsen is still the defensive coordinator, as the Jaguars have a bye week this week, and then they will have 6 games remaining, beginning with Houston 1 week from Sunday here at Everbank Stadium. Obviously, we also talked a lot about the Florida Gators. Big ball game this weekend coming up against Ole Miss. It's a playoff game for Ole Miss, right? Ole Miss has to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. Florida on Senior Day in Gainesville looking to become bowl eligible, so we certainly spent a lot of time on that as well. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Thursday evening and really a very busy week here on Hacker After Dark, and we have a ton of people to thank. Again, Daniel Griffiths, Wildcard Analytics. Always appreciate Daniel stopping by. My buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark, as we talked with Brent about everything going on from the Florida-Ole Miss game to the big one in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Indiana. I mean, there's a ton to talk about. Big weekend coming up. As far as Florida and Ole Miss goes, look, I think Ole Miss is going to win the game, all right? I think Ole Miss is a good football team. I think the game being at noon in Gainesville will help Ole Miss. They don't have to deal with a nighttime crowd with the Gators or anything along those lines. The one thing all week that has given me pause, and the one thing all week that makes me think Florida's got a fighting chance in this game, you look at the 2 Ole Miss losses, right? They lost to LSU, and they lost to Kentucky. And those same 2 teams that Ole Miss lost to, LSU and Kentucky, were the 2 most dominant performances the Gators had the entire year. Now, normally that doesn't mean very much, and maybe it won't mean very much come Saturday afternoon, but just keep that in the back of your mind. If it's a game of matchups, it appears on paper it's a bad matchup for Florida. I agree with that. Yet, why did Florida absolutely dominate LSU and Kentucky, and Ole Miss lost to both LSU and Kentucky? We'll see what happens. At the end of the day, though, I think Ole Miss has a little too much talent. It's a much more important game for them. They have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. So give me Ole Miss. And back in hour number 1, we also talked to my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark, and we always appreciate Cecil taking time out for us as we looked at the Jaguars. I thought Cecil was pretty honest on his thoughts about the organization, his thoughts as a former Jaguar about watching that nonsense last week in Detroit. And Cecil was very candid about his thoughts about Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson's futures moving forward. Now, tomorrow night, Hacker After Dark turns into the Friday Night Lights postgame, round number 2 of the FHSAA state playoffs. We will be on 92.5 FM immediately following the Bishop Kenny Tallahassee Godby game. That's a 7 o'clock kick tomorrow night. So we should be on roughly 9:30, 10 o'clock, I would imagine. There's about 10 teams are in our area, maybe a dozen teams that are still alive in round 2 of the state playoffs. And I hope you join myself along with Dylan Denmark, who's going to be my co-host tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that as we talk to the victorious head coaches and look all around Northeast Florida for round 2 of the FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending not only part of your Thursday evening with us, but really your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. We always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough, how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and we will talk to you tomorrow night under the Friday Night Lights. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.